That was something. That was genuinely my reaction to the address Donald Trump gave tonight. What we saw was a ranting, rambling, raving meltdown of a performance. It barely qualified as a speech at all. Multiple times during Donald Trump's diatribe, he couldn't even form coherent sentences. Instead, he was yelling, blurting things out, and stumbling over himself. It was an absolute mess, and we're going to break it all down because it perfectly reflects the collapsing disaster that his presidency has become and the sheer panic surrounding his White House. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel and us calling out Donald Trump, hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, we have a lot to cover. This train wreck of a speech and Jasmine Crockett calling out Donald Trump at the end. But first, I want to start exactly where Donald Trump started, complaining, which at this point seems to be the only thing he's capable of doing besides struggling to speak. We'll get to that in just a minute. This is utterly pathetic. Can we just start there? There's so much to unpack about everything Donald Trump said tonight, and all the lies he told. But let's begin with the simple truth. The President of the United States is, above all, pathetic. He's a whining, spoiled child who has never once taken responsibility in his life. A draft-dodging failure who's been rescued repeatedly. He isn't a billionaire because he mastered the secrets of success. He's a billionaire because he's been bailed out time and time again. And that's exactly what his presidency has been, bailing out his friends who cheat, scam, and harm the rest of us. The claim that Donald Trump created a great economy is a lie. The reality is that most of us are suffering because of him. The only beneficiaries are roughly 15 wealthy individuals in the Trump family, which is why this so-called success story sounds completely absurd.
Today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue.
Does Donald Trump even understand how jobs work? Does he even know what he's saying? It's hard to imagine that most of this isn't being read off a teleprompter. Yet, the fact that he can't even get through it highlights the cognitive decline he's experiencing. And he kept screaming the entire time, yelling through every moment, even when glitching or struggling. He knows exactly what's happening. His administration is in crisis. Dan Benino had to resign today, and Friday isn't going to be any easier. It's the release of the Epstein files. Things are only going to get worse, which is why Trump is growing increasingly angry, culminating in the moment he completely lost the ability to speak.
Secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen, AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible.
My favorite word is tariffs, and honestly, we call them what they are. Tariffs. Do you know what these tariffs have done? They've crushed farmers across the country and driven up prices on nearly every product. That's the reality of tariffs. Your favorite word is tariffs because it's the perfect tool for running your little gangster operation, squeezing world leaders for a gold trophy and a Big Mac. Meanwhile, the rest of us get ripped off. It's how you manipulate markets so you tariffs and don't even start on the drug prices you claim to be lowering with numbers that don't even exist.
In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interest to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called most favored nation. And no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, TrumpRx.gov.
How has no one in this administration bothered to explain percentages to him? Does he even understand what down by 600% means? He's reading from a teleprompter, and even then, he's doing it terribly, but that doesn't excuse it. Does Donald Trump even comprehend what he's saying? He literally cannot form coherent sentences. The words coming out are meaningless, just jumbled nonsense and lies. It got especially bad when he began glitching out at this point in his speech.
That extra really just took the wealth from people, and that extra really just took the wealth from people, and that extra really just took the wealth from people. And
I guess the pills. That's part of how he sounds. Clearly, whatever he's taking isn't kicking in when it needs to. I suspect Donald Trump takes a lot of Adderall. Susie Wilds once described him as having the personality of an alcoholic without drinking, which seems pretty accurate, and he's certainly on something. They probably also gave him that B12 shot right before, but it didn't help him speak coherently. Not that a competent Trump exists, of course. Still, it got him riled up. There was non-stop screaming and anger, and as usual, he decided to lash out, targeting brown people, his go-to outlet for vitriol.
Driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%.
It's not the border. Let's make that clear. It's not the immigrants doing jobs nobody else wants for wages that aren't even legal, paying hundreds of billions in payroll taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and unemployment, unknowingly subsidizing us all. Maybe the real problem is the tech oligarchs pushing AI to replace workers, hoarding clean water for data centers while ignoring public needs. Maybe it's those people Donald Trump has let run wild who are making life harder for everyone. It's not the immigrants. Have we ever considered that? Jasmine Crockett certainly did. She went off right here.
President Trump has made it clear that he only opposes lawful immigration when non-white people immigrate to the United States. His immigration agenda isn't about public safety or economic stability or jobs. It's about racism. It was racist during his first administration. It's racist now. And like his first administration, he's hired a bunch of racists to carry it out. In fact, I'm gonna pause here really quickly. I know we're talking about TPS, but I don't know if anyone else has mentioned the fact that ICE agents were literally dragging a pregnant woman just this week in a viral video. So don't tell me that this isn't about cruelty, because it is. Moving on. The president is now on record admitting to calling majority Black and brown nations, quote, shithole countries. He consistently refers to Black and brown people as, quote, low IQ, stupid, or nasty. His agenda is about one thing: giving racial preference to specific people seeking to immigrate to America, which is illegal and unconstitutional. But nevertheless, they are going to keep trying to get y'all to believe that immigrants are the cause of all your problems. But here's the truth. Immigrants are not responsible for a billionaire CEO refusing to increase your wage. The corporation you work for isn't replacing your job with artificial intelligence because of Haitian refugees. Your landlord isn't increasing your rent because someone who's fleeing gang violence in Central America moved into your community. A Palestinian kid who was afforded a scholarship to study at an American university isn't responsible for your child's tuition increasing. Latino farm workers aren't responsible for prices of your groceries increasing. Let's be clear, blaming migrants and deporting migrants and ending TPS won't improve the lives of most Americans. As you can see, we're in the middle of the largest, most inhumane deportation program in American history. And guess what? Housing is still unaffordable. Healthcare is still too expensive. Groceries are still too expensive. Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Jobs are still being outsourced. So maybe it's not the immigrants. Maybe it's the failed Republican policies. In my state of Texas, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion. In the United States, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Maybe it's the fact that Republicans would rather give permanent tax cuts to billionaires, but won't even give middle-class Americans temporary healthcare benefits. Maybe it's the fact that President Trump has the wealthiest cabinet in American history, and these people are out of touch with the American public.
We have to push back against this lie. We need more unapologetic Democrats like Jasmine Crockett to do exactly that, pointing out the oligarchs' time. If they're not making us work for wages we can't live on, they're monopolizing our hours through algorithms on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, blocking us from seeing the real devastation in Gaza. Maybe it's time to focus on them, not immigrants, and to call out Donald Trump. We'll be doing that every single day on this show. If you want to support it, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and if you stayed till the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.